Today I'm going to talk about love when it comes to the twin flame chaser and the twin flame runner. And it's going to be the difference between the conditional love that is coming from the runner and the unconditional love that is coming from the chaser, or we can see the duality as of takers and givers. And I already talked in one of my previous videos about love and hate and how differently this can manifest in the runner and chaser. And I thought to create a different video that focuses on love and how these dynamics, giving and receiving, really happens in between the two of you. And the idea of this video is not to demonize the other one and put the other person on a pedestal. It's really to open up your mind and see the blind spots in both of you and recognize by the end that why it's so important to have both within you, which is the main goal of a twin flame relationship. A twin flame relationship is meant to wake you up, and your twin flame represents outside of you that part of yourself that is repressed within you or underdeveloped within you. That is the true meaning of a twin flame reunion. The reunion is within, with that repressed part, not with another person predominantly. The other person is just an agent representing that repressed part that is within you. And before I start this video, I just want to point out, as most of the time, that the twin flame runner and the chaser are on a spectrum. So not all twin flames are the same, that is just two single dots. Some of them are going to be less healthy and some of them are going to be healthier. And the healthier you are, the more mixed are going to be your characteristics with your own opposite, and the more integrated these characteristics are going to be. So the big difference is going to be that the runner is more conditional than the chaser. What that means is, it's really like a parent compared to a child, to be honest, that the parent has a different type of awareness, and the parent constantly compares the child to the other children and where the child is. And this is kind of this conditional love from the runner, that imagine like having a balance sheet that the runner, it's not a conscious thing and they don't have like a proper balance sheet, but kind of this is in their mind that, okay, this is how much I have given to you, and if I don't get the same amount back, I'm not going to stay in this type of a relationship. So they really track the output and what they receive in return. And because they are so afraid that they are getting hurt, they are more likely to be on the taker side, that they feel more secure if they get actually more than what they give, because they believe, and this is where it really shows where their wound is and where they are, that if they give more than what they get, it means that they are stupid. They didn't see in you that you are going to take advantage of them. You would betray them, because they have a very strong betrayal wound that is coming from the head. So this is where their behavior is coming from. And the opposite of that is going to be the chaser, who is a little bit more childlike, full of joy and wants to give, wants to love, gives this unconditional love constantly. And even when the chaser doesn't get enough, they don't really respond to that, because they don't have this balance sheet kind of thing. So it can look like, when it, for example, comes to texting, that the chaser sends out lots of long text messages and receives just these very short sentences in return. That would be probably 10% what the chaser does. But the chaser doesn't see it. Okay, you know what? I have been texting this much and I expect you to text me back this much. the runner really is just, or sorry, the chaser is just really happy that he or she receives a response. So basically, the chaser feels that even these breadcrumbs are worth to stay in the relationship, because this is a clear proof that the partner is interested in me. And this is where the difference is, that if it would be the runner who would be okay, I'm sending a lot of messages for a person, but I don't receive relatively the same back, the runner would say, okay, this is a clear sign that you are not good for me. Go fuck yourself. I'm not staying in a relationship. So this is how differently these type of people think. And the key problem here is, there are several key problems I'm going to talk about. One of them is going to be that the chaser doesn't even say what he or she needs, that she would need more, or maybe they say it but not in a healthy way. So what you have to really understand is that if you just expect, because this is something that the chaser has unconsciously deep down, that if I treat you this way, I'm really, really nice to you, then you are going to be really, really nice to me. But if you don't have self-respect, if you don't express what you need, the other person won't really know. That's one of the things. Like if you don't say that, okay, I expect more from you, then the other person believes that everything is fine, nothing changed, you don't send less messages, everything remains the same. So it means that what he or she does to you in return, that's perfectly fine. And the underlying problem is that the self-respect is missing. Because if you would have proper self-respect, you would say that I'm not willing to put up with this type of treatment. And you would say, go away. You are not good for me. And it's really important to point this out. So this is where the chaser is more of a giver, gives more than receives. And when we look into brain scans, the brain scan looks like, in a sense, that if someone is overly giving, the back of the brain is going to be really, really red. It means that it's going to be overworking. And if someone is a taker person, takes more than what he or she gets, then the front part of the brain is going to be red. So basically, they kind of feel that I want to make sure that I always win. I'm not stupid. That's kind of their internal experience. And the problem is that none of them is healthy. The healthy would be if this energy flow, because this red part is like where the communication is in the brain, if it would be equal. Because if someone has too much in the front of the body, it's kind of like being on cocaine. They are just so fired up all the time. But when it's always at the back, so someone is a giver, that looks exactly the same when someone has chronic depression. So this is something you should really think of, how you have to, for your own health, really get back into healthy habit that relatively you expect a person to give you as well. So the giving and taking is in relative balance. The reason I'm saying relative, because it's never always exactly 50%. Sometimes you give a little bit more and sometimes you take a little bit more, but relatively in the long term, it's in harmony. And if we look deeper into this problem, so we are going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's going to become darker and darker and darker, and the very end is going to be really dark of this video. That the chaser has a very, very low self-esteem. That's why they don't really want to be demanding, because they are really afraid that they would lose the partner, that, oh, maybe if I expected more, if I pointed these things out, then the person would leave me. And the runner is going to be the opposite. The runner has a higher self-esteem, that they feel that they are good enough. And that's one of the reasons they are kind of halfway out of the relationship all the time, because they believe that if they would leave you, there would be someone straight away to have a relationship with. And the reason for this is because the chaser is more connected to this one-on-one personal relationship part of the nervous system. This is the mammalian system. So they really focus on close relationship and bonding. And the runner is more of a social type. So they really like to have lots of relationships, like lots of friends, colleagues. They're very outgoing. And they really focus on being very valuable in front of or in the eyes of society. So just imagine when you see yourself as a valuable member of society, it means that you are admired, you are valued. It means that multiple people would want you, and you are just one out of them. So that's why they have a self-esteem, because they also create themselves to be that type of a person that would make them feel good. Either they have a good job, or maybe the way they look, or maybe they are just delusional. It doesn't really matter what that is, but their self-esteem is going to be very different compared to the chaser, who really believes and has this internal talk that I can't live without you. Which is, if you really think about it, it's not true. But this is the internal feeling, the deep emotion of the chaser, and that really reinforces any parasitic type of a relationship, because they feel that they can't bear the idea and the pain of breaking this bond with this person. And another type of thing you have to understand what the runner has, that when, for example, the chaser starts to bring up things that why the relationship is not good and not working, the runner has a very different mentality, and they kind of think that if you are complaining all the time, then why the hell are you with me? Or if you are not happy with me, just leave. So you have to also understand that their mentality is very different. So if you want to tell your needs, you have to be very careful how you do that. Because if it's complaining and demanding, they will just really ask this question that I don't understand you. Why are you unhappy with me? If you are not happy, go, and I'm going to find someone who is going to value me. So basically they demand more, this unconditional love. And this is where this loop is, that they went into the relationship with you because deep down, they really wanted this unconditional love from someone. And as soon as it starts to become conditional and conditional, they are just like, okay, I'm going to find someone else who gives me this unconditional love. So that's one of the reasons you two attract each other, by the way. And there is an even deeper part of this. And this is the part that is going to be really dark, and it's going to be very hurtful for some chasers if they are very unhealed. So if you have been hurt recently, if you feel that you are very depressed lately, or very mixed up, maybe this is the part where you should switch off this video, because it's going to show you that really deep part that gives you the compulsion, but it's not for everyone. It doesn't mean that it's not for you at all. It means that maybe it's not just the right time, because some people might get too hurt, and for some people the exact same information is going to be very helpful. So it's up to you to decide if you want to watch it till the end or not. And this part is going to give you the need, the core need of the chaser that makes the chaser being attracted and being stuck in these parasitic relationships where they keep giving and they don't receive enough. And the cycle kind of looks like, in a way, that I keep giving, so it's a compulsive giving, but because I don't receive back what I want or what I need, it turns into resentment. And resentment is basically anger. It's a different type of anger, a more sophisticated anger, but at the very core, it's anger. And because they don't express the need constantly when they would want something, they don't verbalize it, then of course the other people won't know, so they think that this person, the chaser, is happy. And it can be family members or anyone as well. And there is a point, a breaking point, when there is lots of resentment, lots of anger has been repressed so long, and there is like one last drop and it becomes completely out of control, that it just blows out. And that's when the chaser can go into rage and anger, and it just all the pain comes up all at once. And it's kind of like that. I can't believe that I'm doing everything for my family or everything for my partner, everything for my children, and I get nothing in return, blah, 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 blah. But it's this huge resentment that they have been doing everything for everyone. They have been sacrificial, like a martyr in the family or in the relationship, and they feel it's unfair. But the problem is that there is a deeper part to it, that they are the very ones who create this. And I have to tell you this, even if I hurt you, because that's the only way to break out of this cycle that you keep causing for yourself. So the very first thing you have to really pay attention to when you have this behavior is that at the very core, one of the things you have is that you, in reality, you give in order to get. And this is something you don't see, that the getting part is already there, because it's just a very, very deep, unconscious expectation. And another thing you have to pay attention to is that you pay attention to everyone else needs way too much. You take too much responsibility for everyone. You have to do everything. But this is also a way of controlling everyone, that they would need you. And on a deeper level, if you do everything for everyone, the problem is that you don't allow them to grow up. You don't force them, in a sense, that they would do those things for themselves, or you would verbalize what you need. So this constant giving energy would turn into, because this is a monologue, if you really see that one of you is the giver and the other one is the taker. That's why you two attract each other, by the way, because the core need that you don't see is deep down. Which means that if somebody would be like you, in reality, you wouldn't feel that attraction, because that chemistry wouldn't be there. So in reality, you have to be in the middle. And the taker part doesn't mean that you manipulate the other person. It's that you verbalize your own needs. But in order to verbalize your own needs, you have to think about it. You have to take a piece of paper and sit down. Write down your thoughts. Write down what anger comes up, what you feel as unfair. Keep a diary and keep track of it, and slowly learn to reprogram yourself. Because the biggest problem is, and now we are going even one level beneath that what causes this whole thing, that you deep down enjoy to be this type of person, because you feel good about yourself when you are sacrificial. That I am better than you. This is your idea. This is your image that you want to present in the world. That you are this sacrificial person that everyone uses, but you are good. You are a martyr. You are an excellent person, because everyone hurts you. Everyone takes advantage of you. Everyone takes more from you than what you get. And this is where the very, very core problem is, that you have to recognize that taking is not bad. And the very reason you attract these people into your life because unconsciously, deep down, these are the people you choose to be in your life. That's the very end of this video. And this is what you have to process. It's really, really difficult. I have to process through lots of shit as well. The deeper parts are always very messy, and these are the things we don't want to see. That we want to believe that we are better than the other person. But the twin flame runner sees it in a way that they are better as in the society, that they are more valuable amongst like a group. But the chaser is different. The chaser is really focused on the close relationships. So they really want to be better in a way that they devalue constantly themselves. They become a doormat, and that gives them that internal satisfaction, that internal pride that they are better than the partner because they allow that hurt, they put up with that hurt, they are so strong, they go through anything. It doesn't matter how much they are hurt, they are such a good person. But you have to recognize this delusion in yourself, and you have to recognize that that is not healthy for you, and nobody expects you to be this way. The healthy is when you are in the middle, and you have to really recognize that you are the one who caused your own misery. And when you recognize that, that's when you can finally break this loop and become a new, healed version of yourself. I hope this video was helpful for you, and see you in my next video.